Mr. Mitchell, do you have a question? I see your hand raised.
I was just making sure I was okay to leave.
Hold on, sir.
I have a question.
Please hold on.
I'm sorry, Ms. Green, I just stepped away. I thought you said that someone had a question.
Mr. Mitchell was inquiring if it was okay for him to leave. He's represented by Attorney Stinson.
Let me see what we've done with his case.
He'll be a reset.
Okay, if he will be a reset, can we go ahead and give him his reset date today? How are we doing that?
I'll have to give that to Attorney Stinson.
Okay.
I'll give it to Attorney Stinson.
Can we make sure we have his updated email address and phone number as well? And any address change?
Yes.
Thank you.
Question 2.
Sir, can you put your face into the camera? We don't know who we're speaking to.
Mr. Zakari, we are in court, sir, so I'm gonna ask you to please sit up. Yeah. You all, please be mindful. We are in a court session. This is being live streamed. And so we need to make sure our background is conducive to that, because our court is a public court and everyone has the right to see what's going on. And therefore you have to present yourself just like you are physically in a courtroom.
Mr. Mitchell, do you still reside on Watts Road?
Yes, ma'am.
And the last 4 digits of your phone number, 9287?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have your information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Liverpool, you have a question?
Yeah, I didn't hear my name get called.
I'm not showing you on my docket. So you have a citation?
Yeah, I have 3 of them.
Okay, do you have the citations with you? Can you give me one of the numbers? Should begin with a 6.
Yeah, 684513.
One moment. Sir, you're on the 1 o'clock calendar.
The paper say 8 a.m. to 4. They ain't really had time on it.
At the bottom of the ticket, it says 8 a.m. to 4.
Where you see that out of bottom?
At the bottom of the ticket, near where you placed your signature, there should be a court date and time.
Sir, yours says 1.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay, we're gonna log you off, sir. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. The gentleman in the black shirt, hand raised.
Yes. My name is William Mandeville.
Okay,
Did y'all call my name?
we did.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm present.
Mr. Mandeville, this is Judge Freeman. What is your plea to the possession of marijuana less than an ounce charge, sir?
Not guilty.
All right, we will call your case for trial. If you will just sit tight, I will make note that you are now here.
Yes.
Please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC. Type your full name and your email
F-
address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
FMPC.
Listen,
All right,
F as in
FMPC.
Frank, P as in Paul, M as in Mary, C as in cat.
Okay.
Your full name and
Full
your email
name.
address. And you can go ahead and mute your device, sir.
Okay.
Do we have one person? Did they show up? We don't know. I see y'all email. You did? Yes. Look, look. Just look on your email. You have to listen to it. Okay. But it's supposed to be on one person. You okay?
Morning, how you doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, next week is the last week.
Judge Freeman,
Yes.
Officer Fields would like to speak with you. Can I place you in a breakout room with her?
You can.
Okay. Mr. Manderville, do you have a question? Sir, are you on mute?
Good morning, Mr. Kessler.
He needs to unmute. How are you doing, Ms. Ida?
Good, thank you. How are you? I was gonna let
Doing
him
very
know.
well.
Good. I was letting him know that there is one of his clients on the queue on Zoom, but I don't see the other clients. I don't know where they
Okay.
are.
They're all sitting here with me. They're all with me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Have you already pre-tried your cases with the prosecutor, attorney?
We
Kessler?
did, and we're ready to go with 3 cases. Yes.
Okay. If you have some, please, if you'd let me know which ones you're ready to go with.
Let's do Antelmo Tornez first.
Okay,
He's on the last page, Your Honor, I think. Hold on.
okay.
He is, yeah, on page 7.
I see it. All right. All right, Kessler, what was the negotiated plea on that between you and the prosecutor?
Is to reduce the hit and run to failure to report, and then no license and 135 fine, 760 fine for no license, and 135 for the other charge. But the reduction of the of hit and run.
Okay, reduce the hit and run to failure to report. What was the negotiated fine on that one?
135.
Okay, and then traffic control, what was a,
135,
okay,
and then 760 no license.
okay. So the only modification I'm gonna make is the hit and run failure to report. That
Exactly.
fine, yeah, I'm gonna put that fine at 430, and you can talk to him to see if he wants to accept that.
Van a aumentar la multa porque están reduciendo los cargos. Entiende? That's fine.
Okay,
And can you see can you automatically just pay all this fine money with the bond he paid? Can you do? Is that possible? Is it?
if the bond is in his name, the answer is yes.
Can't pago la fianza.
Mi hermano no con su esposa.
Okay.
Ahí está. ¿Cómo se llama?
I'm not sure about that. If you could give him maybe 2 weeks to pay the fine to go by the window, and we'll figure it out.
Okay, so it's my understanding that Senor Tornez is entering a guilty plea to all 3 charges?
We'll do a no-load, Judge.
All right, that he's entering now he doesn't have a license, so.
Correct. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. All right.
Okay. All right,
Yeah, let's do a guilty to the fair to report and a no load to the other 2, Judge.
all right. He's entering a guilty plea to the failure to report, is that correct?
Correct.
And he's entering a NOLO plea to the traffic control device and driving without a license, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, Senor Tornez, do you understand that you're entering this plea with the assistance of a lawyer?
Señor Tornes, ¿usted entiende que está declarando de esta manera con la asesoría de su abogado? ¿Entiende eso?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Usted también renuncia a su derecho a tener un juicio cuando se declara de esta manera. ¿Entendió eso?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
¿Se está declarando de esta manera por su propia voluntad y libremente?
Sí. Sí.
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty and the NOLO pleas respectfully?
¿Y usted considera que esto es lo que más le conviene, declararse nulo a un cargo y culpable a los otros 2 cargos? ¿Es lo que usted considera que más le conviene?
Sí.
Yes.
Attorney Kessler, do you stipulate to the facts in this case there's a factual basis?
Yes, Judge.
All right. The court will accept the guilty plea to the reduced charge of failure to report. That fine is $430. The court will accept a NOLO plea to the traffic control device. That fine is $135. And the court will accept a NOLO plea to the driving without a valid license. That fine is $760.
Que el juez va a aceptar su declaración de culpable a no reportar o informar sobre el accidente. La multa son 430. Por no obedecer una señal de tránsito, acepta su declaración de nolo y la multa son de 135. Y por manejar sin licencia, su declaración de nolo y la multa son $767.
It is my understanding he will pay this within 2 weeks, and so we will give him a 2 weeks to pay agreement.
Entonces le vamos a dar 2 semanas para que pague, máximo 2 semanas. Le vamos a dar un contrato para que usted se comprometa a pagar a más tardar en 2 semanas.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, can I interrupt? He
Yes.
has a bond for the total of $1,625, so he will actually get a refund of the amount of $300.
Okay, is the bond in his name?
That's correct.
Okay,
Ok, le van a devolver dinero porque usted pagó una fianza de 1.625 y entonces le van a pagar las multas, después le devuelven $300 que le queda de esa fianza.
okay, Ms. Green, can you please state the full amount of his bond and the amount of the refund again?
1625 is what he has bond wise. Refund amount 300.
Que si pagas la multa con fianza, devuelven el resto. Muy fácil.
That will conclude the matter with Senor Tornes.
Ok, esto termina el caso con el señor Tornés.
Okay, give me 1 second. We're ready on Albacetes. Okay. Albacetes Lopez Sarabia.
He's on page 3, Your Honor.
En este caso, la policía te llevó, ¿sí?
Sí,
¿Y pagaste una fianza para salir o no
No.
pagaste nada?
no. Firmé para pagar con cárcel.
Hey, Jason, where's the judge?
We're
We're
waiting.
waiting for him.
Okay. Hey, Miss Ida,
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Did you get my message by any chance?
Today?
This morning.
I'm glad you said something because I did.
Is it- Do you have the afternoon calendar with you also, or just the morning calendar?
Was it a text message? I see.
Yes.
All right, I think we were dealing with Attorney
Morning.
Kessler's matters.
Yeah, this is
For judge
Albacetes.
and
I'm sorry.
This is who?
Albacetes Lopez.
Page 3, Your Honor.
Okay. What is the negotiated plea on this matter?
The prosecutor agreed to no cross the DUI, 760 for the no license, and 154 for the other charge. Correct, Sterling?
760 for the no license and 154 on the open container,
Correct.
and he's null processing the DUI?
That's correct.
yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Um,
And what is his plea to the open container charge?
To a guilty, Judge.
And what is his plea to driving without a valid license?
Guilty.
Senor Lopez, it's my understanding through counsel, you're entering a guilty plea to the open container charge. Is that correct, sir?
Señor López, tengo entendido que a través de su abogado usted se declara culpable al cargo de tener un envase abierto. ¿Es eso correcto?
Sí,
Yes.
You're also entering a guilty plea to driving without a valid license. Is that correct, sir?
También se declara culpable de manejar sin licencia válida. ¿Es eso correcto, señor?
sí,
Yes.
My understanding that the prosecution is null processing the DUI charge. Is that correct, Mr. Prosecutor?
Y van a retirar el cargo, no lo van a procesar el cargo de manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol. Está preguntando el fiscal si eso es correcto.
That is correct, Judge.
Ok, es correcto.
Senor Lopez, you understand that you're entering the guilty pleas with the assistance of a lawyer.
Señor López, usted entiende que se está declarando de esta manera con asesoramiento de un abogado. ¿Entendió eso?
sí,
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
También renuncia al derecho a tener un juicio cuando se declara culpable. ¿Entendió eso?
sí,
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
¿Se está declarando de esta manera por su propia voluntad y libremente?
sí,
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty pleas on the open container and driving without a valid license?
¿Y usted considera que declararse culpable es lo que más le conviene en relación al cargo de manejar sin licencia y tener un envase abierto? ¿Es eso correcto?
sí,
Yes.
Attorney Kessler, is there a factual basis that supports the two charges?
Yes, Judge.
And do you so stipulate?
Yes, Judge.
The court will accept the guilty plea to the open container and the driving without a valid license charge. The total fine is $914. Is there a bond associated with this?
No, he didn't pay a bond, Judge. No.
Okay. El juez va a aceptar su declaración de culpable y la multa son 760 por manejar sin licencia y 150 por manejar, por tener un envase abierto. Son un total de $914.
Is this something that Senor Lopez can pay within 2 weeks, or does he need a longer period of time?
¿Puede pagarlo más tardar en 2 semanas, hoy, o necesita más tiempo?
hoy los pago.
I can pay it today.
All right,
Judge
he will
Freeman.
be directed. Go ahead, Ms. Yates.
Can you advise on court-appointed attorney fees?
Yes. All right. Senor Lopez, it's my understanding that Attorney Kessler was appointed as counsel on you on this matter.
Tengo entendido que le asignaron al abogado Kessler en este
Ms.
asunto,
Yates,
señor
thank you
López.
for reminding me of that.
You're welcome.
During the term of the appointment, the city does have the right to seek restitution for the court-appointed fees. Do you understand that, sir?
Usted entiende que la ciudad que le puso un abogado de oficio tiene el derecho a pedir que se le pague al abogado los honorarios de este abogado. ¿Entendió eso?
Sí,
The
Yes.
reasonable court-appointed fees on a charge of this nature and outcome is $250. Do you understand that, sir?
El costo de este abogado, debido a la naturaleza de los cargos y de este caso, son de $250. ¿Usted entiende eso, señor?
sí,
Yes.
If the court were to award the fees, they would be added to your fine balance. Do you understand that?
Si el juez otorga que se cobre unos honorarios, se le va a añadir al saldo que ya usted tiene de las fianzas. Además de la fianza, va a tener que pagar los 250. ¿Entendió eso?
sí,
Yes.
The court is inclined to award the fees, and therefore your fine balance will be $1,164. Do you understand that?
El juez va a otorgar que se le pague al abogado y la multa total, la multa más los honorarios del abogado son $1,164. ¿Usted entendió eso?
sí.
Yes.
Do you have any objection to the court-appointed fees being added to your fine balance?
¿Usted se opone, tiene alguna objeción a que se le añada el costo del abogado a las multas que se le impusieron por los cargos? ¿Tiene algún problema con eso?
No,
No.
That will be the disposition of the case. He will receive his 2-week agreement. It's my understanding he will have this $1,164 paid before then.
Ok, se le va a traer un contrato de dos semanas para que se comprometa a pagar a más tardar en 2 semanas. Creo que usted dice que lo puede pagar antes, ¿correcto?
sí,
Yes.
Attorney Kessler, the gentleman that we took the plea on before, was that a court-appointed matter?
That was a retained case, Judge.
It was a
Retained.
private pay. Okay, thank you. Do you have any other matters, sir?
We do. Jose Gomez, give me a second. We'll be ready in a second, Judge.
Jose Gomez, and that is, hold on, let me see what page that is on.
It looks like it's 2 of 7 at the bottom.
Okay,
So just, Judge, just to get ahead of that one, the hit and run is being amended to a failure to report.
Okay. What was the fine on that?
I was going to leave that to the court's discretion, but we can make it 250.
All right. Well, if you'll leave it, I'm gonna probably just leave the fine the same. I did it 430 for the other gentleman, so it would be 430.
Okay.
All right. And then how about the
Yes, sir.
driving without a valid license?
That's the normal fine, 760, I believe it is.
Yeah. And then the DUI.
That is a standard DUI charge, and I forget. I always look at the calendar and see what's posted on there. I know those amounts aren't correct.
I think it's 1295.
1295.
Okay. And he's was he entering a guilty plea to all of these, or guilty and a no?
I believe so, Your Honor. I'm not sure. Mr. Kessler, what was the?
So a guilty,
fine
Judge.
preference?
Yes.
All right. Senor Gomez, it's my understanding that through counsel, you're entering a guilty plea to all charges. Is that correct?
señor Gómez, tengo entendido de su abogado que usted se declara culpable a todos los cargos, ¿es eso correcto?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
You're entering a guilty plea to the driving under the influence charge. Is that correct?
Usted está declarando culpable al cargo de manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol, ¿es eso correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
You're also entering a guilty plea to driving without a valid license. Is that correct?
También se declara culpable de manejar sin licencia válida, ¿es eso correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
The hit and run charge through counsel has been reduced to a failure to report, and it's my understanding you're entering a guilty plea to that charge. Is that correct?
Y entonces el cargo por chocar y darse a la fuga lo enmendaron a un cargo de por no informar sobre el accidente, y entiendo que usted se declara culpable de ese cargo, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
You understand that you're entering the pleas with the assistance of a lawyer.
Usted entiende que se declara culpable con la asesoría de un abogado, ¿entendió eso?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you entering these pleas freely and voluntarily?
¿Se está declarando de esta manera por su propia voluntad y libremente?
Sí.
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty pleas?
¿Y usted considera que declararse culpable es lo que más le conviene en este caso?
Sí.
Yes.
Attorney Kessler, is there a factual basis that you so stipulate for the charges?
Yes, there is, Judge.
And Attorney Kessler, is this a court-appointed or a private pay matter?
Private case.
Thank you. All right. Senor Gomez, the court will accept your guilty plea to the charge of driving under the influence, driving without a valid license, and failure to report.
Señor Gómez, el juez va a aceptar su declaración de culpable de manejar los cargos de manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol, manejar sin licencia y no por no informar sobre el accidente.
Sir, you will be placed on probation for 12 months.
Lo van a poner en libertad vigilada por 12 meses.
12 months of your probation is mandatory.
Los 12 meses son obligatorios.
While on probation, you must complete 40 hours of community service,
Tiene que completar 40 horas de servicio a favor de la comunidad mientras esté bajo libertad vigilada
at a recognized nonprofit with 501c3 status,
con una entidad que sea sin fines de lucro, que esté identificada con el estatus 5013C.
the vendor must be approved by the probation department.
Esta institución tiene que ser aprobada por el agente de libertad vigilada antes de que empiece su trabajo de libertad vigilada.
You must complete the community service within the first 150 days.
Y tiene los primeros 150 días para cumplir con este servicio comunitario.
You also must complete a risk reduction course.
También tiene que cumplir o hacer una clase de reducir el riesgo para las personas que manejan bajo los efectos del alcohol.
That course must be completed within the first 150 days as well.
También tienes los primeros 150 días para poder cumplir con este requisito de tomar esta clase.
You also must undergo a drug and alcohol evaluation.
También tiene que llevar a cabo una evaluación de drogas y alcohol.
If treatment is recommended, you must partake of that treatment.
Si recomienda que haya un tratamiento, tiene que cumplir con este tratamiento.
You must abstain from the consumption of alcohol
Tiene que abstenerse del consumo de alcohol
and non-prescribed drugs
y de drogas que no han sido prescritas por un médico
while you are on probation.
mientras estabas en libertad vigilada.
Probation will perform random alcohol and drug screens.
Se van a llevar a cabo exámenes de detección de drogas y alcohol al azar por libertad vigilada.
You also must not operate a vehicle
Tampoco puede operar un vehículo
until you have secured a valid driver's license
a menos que tenga una licencia válida de conducir
from a state in the United States.
de uno de los Estados Unidos.
Mr. Prosecutor, is that your understanding of the negotiated plea? Mr. Prosecutor, is that your understanding of the negotiated plea?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Attorney Kessler, is that your
Can you hear me?
understanding of the negotiated plea?
Yes, it is, Judge.
All right, the
Judge-
total fine amount is $2,485.
La
Judge
multa-
Freeman, it looks like he has a bond as well.
What is the amount of his bond?
The bond is $2,960.
Okay. So if he has a total bond of $2,960, his fine is $2,485. So there will be a portion of that will be refunded to him.
Ok, le van a devolver dinero porque usted puso una fianza de 2.960, las multas son 2.485 y el resto que queda se lo van a devolver.
It looks like the amount to be refunded, if my math is correct, is $475.
Le van a devolver aproximadamente $475.
He is to meet with probation and comply with all terms and conditions to ensure that he does not come in front of the court on a probation revocation calendar.
Tiene que reunirse con gente de libertad vigilada para asegurarse de que cumpla con todos los términos y condiciones de libertad vigilada para que no vaya a ocurrir una cuestión de que tenga que no cumplir con algo y tiene que presentarse de nuevo al juez y le van a revocar la libertad vigilada.
Attorney Kessler, do you have any questions, sir?
No.
All right, thank you. That will conclude this matter.
Your Judge, should he give his information to probation, or what should you do right now?
They will send you the information for him to go and meet with probation, but I will go ahead and sign the order that's sending his case to probation today.
Got it. Okay. I do want to ask. I want to ask Andrea, one of the clerks, if they see Adriana Roman on the afternoon calendar. I was confused. I thought she was going to be on today's Adriana Roman, R-O-M-A-N. Does that look familiar on either the afternoon or the morning? No.
We don't have it in
Yes.
the morning calendar.
Or maybe the afternoon.
I don't know. I don't have the calendar for the afternoon.
Judge, while we're doing that, can we go ahead and have Officer Fields excused? She's on one of Mr. Stinson's cases that's being reset.
Okay, she can be
And she
excused.
is
Thank
off.
you.
All
She
right,
can be
thank you.
excused. Thank you.
Attorney Kessler,
Yeah. Hey, yes.
to answer your question, yes, she is on the afternoon calendar.
Okay. Can I talk with the prosecutor about that for to take a second?
Let him finish up with Stinson's cases first, and he's got a few trials.
Your
Sounds
Honor,
good.
may I be excused if that is my last case?
You can, thank you, yes.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Well, I'll just
Yes,
log
that's
on at
good.
1 o'clock. That's fine. I'll log on at 1 o'clock.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Thank you. All right, are we ready with Attorney Stinson?
We are, Judge.
All right, which matter are we handling first?
Yes, he did. So we have a plea
Judge,
for
we can
Robbie
handle
Berry.
Robbie Berry.
All right, what is the negotiated plea in Robbie
No,
Berry?
So Judge, this
Robbie
is
Berry is
two
being
cases on the
reset. We
calendar.
need to,
Yeah, there are two cases on the calendar, Judge. We're resetting the one on the actual DUI charge. We're moving forward on the brake light.
We're resetting the DUI, and what are we doing on the brake light?
She's entering a plea, I
actually,
believe. Mr.
Judge, if
Simpson.
we can just, if we can just hold that, put them together.
Does the prosecution have any objection?
I do not. We can handle them both at the same time, Judge.
All right, then both matters are being reset for a plea. Let's just be clear, it's for a plea, is that correct?
Well, we don't know about the
Yes,
DUI. We're
yes, Judge,
resetting
it
that.
is.
Okay, So both matters are being removed from the trial calendar based on the fact that there will be a plea to both charges in the future. Is that correct, Attorney Stinson?
Clarify. The DUI is a separate charge, a separate case, and we don't know anything about that. All we have is a ticket that says DUI drugs. And so we're still trying to figure out what that case is all about.
All right, so the brake light will be a plea. The DUI charge is just being reset for another trial calendar.
Yes, Judge.
All right, okay, let's go
Is
to the
Officer
next matter.
Malone, is Officer Malone still with the department?
Yes.
Okay, then we can find him and get that report.
All right, let's
Okay,
go.
Judge.
What is the
Thank
next
you.
matter?
So if we're just going down the calendar, Judge.
All right, then the next matter would
Mr.
be
Stinson's other case was a
Dante
FTA.
Bradford. Dante Bradford.
That was an FTA, Judge.
He's a failure to appear.
All right, Dante Bradford is an FTA. Then the next case would be
Yes, sir.
Jakima Howard.
Akima Howard is a plea.
All right, what is the term of the negotiated plea?
Standard first, Judge.
All right, and is the person eligible for a first DUI conviction?
She is.
All right, Ms. Howard. Ms. Howard,
Can you hear me?
we can hear you now. It's my understanding that Attorney Stinson was appointed through the court through the city of Forest Park. Is that correct? Young lady, is that correct?
Yes.
Are you entering a guilty plea to the driving under the influence charge?
Yes.
You understand that you're entering this plea with the assistance of Attorney Stinson?
Yes.
You also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea, young lady, freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Yes.
Attorney Stinson, is there a factual basis that you so stipulate?
We will stipulate, Judge.
All right. Ms. Howard, the court will accept your guilty plea to the driving under the influence charge. The base fine for that is $1,295. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that you will be placed on probation for 12 months and 12 months of your probation will be mandatory. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that while on probation, you must complete 40 hours of community service at a recognized nonprofit with 501c3 status approved by the probation department. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that you must complete that community service within the first 150 days of your probationary period. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You also understand that you must complete a risk reduction course during the first 150 days of your probationary period. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You also understand that you must abstain from the consumption of alcohol and non-prescribed drugs while on probation. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that probation will perform random alcohol and drug screenings. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that you also must undergo a drug and alcohol evaluation, and if treatment is recommended, you must partake of that treatment. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that your license will be suspended, but that you are eligible for what's called a limited driving permit. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand the Department of Driving Services will determine the terms and conditions of that limited driving permit. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Assuming you comply with the terms and conditions at some point in the future, usually 120 days, your driving privileges can be reinstated. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You also understand that Attorney Stinson was appointed through the city of Forest Park. Is that correct?
Yes.
At the time of his appointment, the city does have the right to seek restitution for the court-appointed fees. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Those fees are in the amount of $250. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If awarded, that sum would be added to your fine balance. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That would make your total fine balance $1,545. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you have any objection to the attorney's fees being awarded to Attorney Stinson?
No.
All right, the court will award the court-appointed fees. The total fine balance that will be on probation is $1,545. Attorney Stinson, is that your understanding of the negotiated plea?
It is, Judge.
And Mr. Prosecutor, is that your understanding of the negotiated plea?
It is, Judge.
All right. That will be the plea for Ms. Howard. We will get to her, her plea form so that she can enter a guilty plea to the DUI. Ms. Howard, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
No, I'm about to do it now.
Please do that. Send it to FPMC. I'm going to ask everyone again, please make sure your name and email address is typed in the chat and send it to FPMC. All right, we will wait on Ms. Howard to do that. I know
Get to someone?
you're going to send it to FPMC. Mr. Prosecutor and Mr. Stinson, do you want to excuse Robbie Berry since the cases have been continued?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Berry, you are excused. Attorney Stinson will be in contact with you. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You are excused. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
I typed it into the chat.
All right. Once we're able to confirm that, are we able to confirm that for Ms. Howard?
One moment.
And Judge,
Yes.
I believe Mr. Kessler had another individual on there, unless I'm mixing up two names. So I have a Maria Perdomo Villanueva, who seems to still be on the screen. And Mr. Kessler should have announced that that case was going to be bound over.
Okay, where is she on the calendar?
She is on page 5 at the top.
Okay, that case is going to be bound over.
That was his announcement when we were in the breakout room.
All right, we need
And
to
I think
confirm that with him.
Ms. Perdomo is still on. Ms. Perdomo, can you hear me? Señora Perdomo, ¿me puede escuchar? Prende su micrófono, por favor. No está prendido. Ok. Yo no te puedo escuchar, pero hágame el favor, llama a tu abogado para ver si él te... Ok, ahora está. Llama a tu abogado para ver si él te puede avisar de cambiando la corte, porque lo olvidó decir eso antes que salir de la corte de esta mañana.
Es que sí me habían dado de que él iba a hacer, y me fui y me dijeron que me podía meter online. O sea, no sé si es que tengo que presentar.
Sí, pero él me dijo que vas a cambiar la corte de esta corte a la corte de Clayton. Si tú lo puedes llamar cuando nosotros estamos aquí en vivo para avisarme. I think Ms. Yates is contacting him right now, Judge, so we can probably get an update. Espera. Okay.
All right, let's go to Mr. Stinson's next case.
And so, Mr. Simpson, we are on, let's see here. So we reset McDaniel and Mitchell.
Yeah, I don't have any other cases. I think that concludes all of your cases, does it, Mr. Stinson, except for there was one case that you were going to speak
Okay.
with.
I think Equasia Scott was.
Yeah, what is
the
your
last
announcement
one.
on Ms. Scott?
I have a Quasia Scott.
Yeah, what is your announcement on that?
That's a plea.
All right, are we ready to go forward?
We are, Judge.
All right. Ms. Scott,
We are.
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding through counsel. What is your plea to the failure to maintain insurance?
Judge, that actually has been amended to no proof.
All right. With the standard fine?
Correct, Judge.
All right. So, Ms. Scott, it's my understanding that your attorney has spoken with the prosecutor and the failure to maintain insurance has been reduced to a no proof of insurance charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
What is your plea to that, young lady?
Guilty.
All right, and there's a seatbelt violation. What is your plea to that?
Guilty.
You understand that you're entering the guilty pleas respectfully with the assistance of Attorney Stinson.
Yes.
You also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial.
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty pleas?
Yes.
It looks like Attorney Stinson was appointed by the city of Forest Park. You do understand that the city is entitled to receive restitution for the court-appointed fees. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that is awarded, it would be added to your fine balance. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. The fine amount on the no proof of insurance is $5.95. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The fine on the seat belt is $15. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Your total fine without the court-appointed fees is $610. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The court is going to award to Attorney Stinson $200 in court-appointed fees. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that is allowed, it would be added to your fine balance. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
That brings your fine balance up to a total of $810. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any objection to the court-appointed fees being awarded, Ms. Scott?
No.
All right. The court will enter a order in favor of the city of Forest Park, where she will pay a fine of $810. Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
A longer period of time.
All right, young lady, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Your probation will end the moment the fine is paid. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if it's paid during the first 29 days, you do not have to pay any monthly supervision fees. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I know I can pay it within 29 days.
And if it goes beyond that, then you will have to pay the fine plus monthly supervision fees for every month that you're on probation. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And you do understand that if you violate your probation, you can be brought before the court on a probation revocation calendar. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Scott, that you'd like to ask me?
No.
All right. Attorney Stinson, do you stipulate to the facts, sir?
We do.
All right. Well, that will conclude the matter. Ms. Scott, have you typed your name and email address in the chat and send it to FPMC?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have Ms. Scott's information?
Yes, we do.
All right, Ms. Scott, you can disengage from the call. You will receive your plea form and probation information by close of business tomorrow, no later than close of business tomorrow, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Stinson, do you have any other cases, sir?
I do not.
All right, then you are
Judge.
excused. We have a couple of trials. So, Mr. Prosecutor, I'm going back to the top of the calendar unless you have any other announcements,
Thank you,
sir.
Judge.
No, Judge, I believe we can probably excuse Ms. Perdomo for now and let Mr. Kessler get in contact with her. He may want to put her back on at 1 o'clock, but
All right,
we
Ms.
have.
Perdomo, you are excused until we have heard from Attorney Kessler.
Señora Perdomo,
Sí.
¿me puedes escuchar?
Sí, sí.
Ok, tú puedes retirar, su abogado te va a llamar para decir qué vamos a hacer después, ¿ok?
Mi número de teléfono no sé si lo tienen correcto. Yo lo actualicé, pero yo me cambié de dirección.
Ok, déjame ver aquí. Dime su número de teléfono, yo lo voy a poner aquí y avisar a su abogado.
706-242-6029.
Looks like the
Okay.
first trial is Michelle Hill.
Bueno, ya yo lo tengo, tú puedes retirar. Gracias.
¿Me puedo salir?
Judge, you said, sí, señora.
Ok, gracias.
Uh-huh. You said, Judge, what was the last name on that one?
First trial
Hill.
is Michelle Hill. She's there in the courtroom. And this is Officer Moriarty. Ms. Green, if we'll have Ms. Hill to come forward, please.
She's here, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on, Your Honor, sorry.
Officer Moriarty, if you will go ahead and turn your video on, sir.
Yes, I'll come.
Can we send Officer Moriarty a text to tell him to turn his video on so we can begin this trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if not, we can go to
Yeah, I'll come right now.
Mr. Mandeville, if you will please mute your device, sir. Let's go to the next trial and I will come back to that one.
Okay,
Next
Your Honor.
is Raquel Madison. Raquel Madison.
That's Officer Richard.
Is Officer Richard present?
Your Honor, I'm getting in touch with her now.
I'm gonna go to the next trial. I'm going to the next trial. We'll come back. I'm going to the next trial. The next trial will be Zakara Portis, which is Officer Rice.
Okay, thank you so much. Is this Officer Smith? All right, thank you.
Is Officer Rice present?
I don't see an Officer Rice.
All right, does the
logged on,
city
Judge.
have a motion on this one? Zakari
City
Portis,
moved to
she is
dismiss for warrant of
online.
prosecution.
Zakara Portis is online. Where are you?
I'm here.
All right. What is the city's motion on this one?
Dismiss for warrant of prosecution, Judge.
All right, Mr. Portis, this case is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution. The officer is not here. If the officer does show up and elects to reinstate the charges, they can do so within the next 6 months. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have Mr. Portis's information?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Portis, you can be excused. You will receive your plea form to which you will enter a not guilty plea and the criminal disposition form showing that this case has been dismissed for warrant of prosecution. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can disengage. Next is Christopher Reeves. This is Officer Holmes.
Is Officer Holmes in the courtroom? All right, Judge, we don't have an officer on this. We're gonna dismiss for warrant of prosecution also.
All right, Mr. Reeves, this case is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution. The officer is not here. The city does have the right to reinstate the charges within 6 months. If you will enter a not guilty plea, sir, you're free to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Victoria Solomon. Victoria Solomon.
Yes, sir. Hey.
Is Officer James available?
We do not have an Officer James present, Judge. We're gonna dismiss for warrant of prosecution.
All right,
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. This is Officer Estrada with Forest Park. Officer James is on medical leave.
I don't know if anything has been provided to the court.
Judge Freeman, that's my area. She's on medical leave.
All right, Ms. Solomon, it looks like that is a valid excuse that has been provided to the court. I'm going to continue this matter one time for the city because of the officer's valid leave. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, they will give you a reset court date. I apologize for the inconvenience. If I had known this at the beginning, I would have excused you a long time ago.
Yes,
Judge
Judge
Freeman.
Freeman. This is the
Yes.
fourth time I've been here.
Judge Freeman, this is
Yes.
the second reset for trial calendar.
This is the second reset. What was the basis of the first reset? Was it based on the prosecution or was it based on the defense?
I believe
It was-
The process,
Judge, I believe it was the city's burden at that time we requested a reset for the officer. I'm fine at this point to dismiss for warrant of prosecution
right.
also on this matter, Judge.
All right, Ms. Solomon, this case is going to be dismissed for warrant of prosecution. Thank you. If you will enter your not guilty plea form, unless these charges need to be reinstated in the future, you can consider them to be dismissed, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Last is Lakita Johnson. And that too is Officer Moriarty. Has he turned on his device?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I apologize. I was having issues with my device.
Okay, let's go back to your very first case, which is Michelle Hill.
Yes, sir.
This is a window tint violation. If we can have Ms. Hill to come forward. And if you'll turn your video on, Officer Moriarty.
Very good.
And before. I'm stepping away for 1 minute. I will be right back.
Okay.
No.
Okay, we're ready to go full on the Michelle Hill matter.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Officer Moriarty.
Yes, sir.
All right, I do not see you.
My camera and mic
I
shows
do
up.
see you now. Okay, thank you. Everyone that is going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hill is before the court because on November 30th of 2022, she received a citation for reducing materials affixed to her windows. Officer Moriarty issued that citation. Officer Moriarty, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with
Yes, sir.
arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
I apologize, sir. The device is having issues. Can you restate the question, please?
Yes, could you briefly state the nature of that contact you had with Ms. Hill?
Yes. So I pulled Miss Hill over for having a dark window tint. When I read her window tint with my tint reader, it read a tint level of 21%. I informed Ms. Hill of our code section, which states under the OCGA that the code section allows 32% of light transmission plus and minus 3. And after that, I issued her a citation.
Let me just make sure. Do you have a copy of your citation with you, Officer Moriarty?
I do have it via email, yes.
Okay. In your comments section, you stated that you measured the window tint at 28%. Unless I misheard you, I believe you said 21 when you testified.
Let me see. 1 second. So, oh, I do apologize. It does say 28.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I heard your testimony correctly. Now, according to your testimony, you also said that there is a error factor of plus or minus 3.
Yes.
Okay. Would that 28% be in that range?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
All right, Ms. Hill, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I was sitting down that night, it was raining and it was pretty late. And I've been in Forest Park here over 3 years.
So Ms. Hill, make this a question. I understand. Yeah, just make it a question, okay?
Question was, I couldn't understand that you can just say that it was 21, but it was 28, and then it's a few points off the legal tint color. And for the due to the weather being so bad, how could you just figure that my tint was just too dark, just a few points off, just to say, well, hey, I'm gonna pull her over because she's just a few points off. I'm not understanding that. I just didn't feel like that was fair.
Well, I do apologize if you feel that way, ma'am. However, at the time that I pulled you over, I was unable to see into your vehicle, which gives me the cause to believe that your tint is too dark.
Officer, my window was correct.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any other questions, Ms. Hill? And I'm sure that if you've gone to a window tint company, you'll be able to provide some documentation to show what the actual percentage of intent was, and you can show that when you present your case, okay?
Yes, sir.
So do you have any other questions you'd like to ask this officer?
No, sir.
All right, does the city rest?
City arrest, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hill, now you can come forward and say why you believe that your window tint was within the legal limit.
Because I've had a ticket before. I've had the car several years, and rain, shine, sleet, or snow. I never had any run-ins with any tint violation. Rims maybe, but not the tint, Your Honor. And I don't feel like, like I said, due to the weather and everything, I would say if it was a sunny or a regular day or whatnot, you trying to see into my vehicle and unable to. I just couldn't understand at 1:30 in the morning in bad weather, you was to let my truck saying that you couldn't see in it. And I don't understand that. To me, this, like, I don't understand it. Because I feel like if several officers could see me on the daily and my windows are up, whether it's different weather, whatnot, if it was a problem for him, it should have been a problem with several officers, and it has not been.
Okay. Ma'am, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, sir.
All right, does the prosecution have any questions?
I do not, Judge.
All right. Ms. Hill, let me ask you, since this happened, have you gone and had your windows tested, and do you have anything writing showing what the actual tint percentage is?
No, sir, I was not able to.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Ms. Hill, you've entered a not guilty plea to the window tint violation. Let me also ask you, have you removed the window tint since this happened?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. Ms. Hill, you've entered a not guilty plea to the violation. The court does find you guilty. The fine amount is $115. Are you able to satisfy that within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
I can satisfy that in 2 weeks.
All right, you're there in the courtroom. They will give you you entered a not guilty plea. The court has found you guilty and is imposing a fine of $115, to which you will pay within the next 2 weeks. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions, ma'am, you'd like to ask me regarding the sentencing of this court?
No.
All right, well, thank you. And if you will have a seat, Ms. Green will take care of you.
Ma'am.
All right. Next is Raquel Madison and Officer Richard. Well, hold on, Officer Moriarty, we have another charge case for you. Let me go ahead and do yours real quick.
Okay.
That would be Lakita Johnson. She's online. Ms. Johnson? Lakita Johnson. Ms. Johnson, if you will please unmute your device, and if you and the officer will both raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, she is on the supplemental calendar, and she's number 1 on there, Miss Lakita Johnson.
And Judge, I apologize. I don't have a supplemental calendar.
Okay, it
Let
looks
me
like
see
on
if I
this
can pull
calendar,
hers.
she's charged with impeding traffic flow.
Okay, Judge, I can proceed with the calendar. I'm ready to go, Judge.
All right, everyone has been sworn in.
Yes, Your Honor. So Ms. Johnson is before the court because on February 26, 2023, she received a citation. Officer Moriarty issued that citation. Officer Moriarty, on the date in question, did you issue a citation for impeding traffic flow to Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I do.
And was that within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes.
Can you briefly state the nature of the contact that you had with Ms. Johnson?
I made contact with Johnson while in response to an auto accident that occurred on the 4600 block of Jonesboro Road. Upon my arrival, I spoke to both parties, and I managed to get both parties off the street before I started asking questions. I first spoke to Ms. Johnson. She told me that her intention was to turn left on from Jonesboro Road into a parking lot that was close to the intersection. But she stated that her intended turn point was further down the road, approximately 50 to 100 feet further down the road to the turn lane. Ms. Akita did tell me that she had slowed down to approximately 20 to 25 miles an hour to prepare for her turn. And that's when she stated that.
Okay, I'm sorry, Officer Moriarty, but for some reason, it seems like I'm hearing an open mic or some crackling going on. I can't make out what. Okay, that was Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson, we're gonna have to place you on mute while, Ms. Johnson, we're placing you on mute until you get ready to testify because we're getting some feedback. Officer Moriarty, can you repeat the last part of your testimony again? I didn't hear any of that.
Okay, I do apologize. So
that's okay.
When I spoke to Ms. Lakita Johnson, she informed me that she had slowed down to approximately 20 to 25 miles an hour to make her turn into the center turn lane. However, she also stated that her intended turn point wasn't for another approximate 100 feet down the road so that she could turn around and make a U-turn so that she can safely make that turn without turning directly into oncoming traffic. However, because she slowed down to such a slow rate of speed, I apologize. the speed limit on Jonesboro Road is 40 miles an hour, with every individual person typically going anywhere between 40 and 45 miles an hour. So because she slowed down to about 20 miles an hour, she impeded the flow of traffic, or the normal flow of traffic, without turning into the center turn lane. She said she was supposed to turn into the center turn lane, but she never did.
Okay. And from her testimony, when you came on the scene, it was that she was going to be making a left turn to make a U-turn. She got in the center turn lane or slowed down to do that. This then caused some sort of an accident?
Yes, that is what she stated.
Okay. And you spoke to all of the parties involved that were involved in the accident when you got to the scene. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And the statements that you got from all of those individuals was consistent with the information that led you to issuing the charge of impeding traffic flow, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge. You're on mute, sir. Your device is on mute, Judge.
I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson, if you will unmute, and do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and ask your questions.
I wanted to ask first, when you first approached the vehicle, did you see my signal on my vehicle when you walked to the car to tell us to move to the right to get out of the flow of traffic?
No, ma'am, I did not see either your turn signals on.
Okay. Do you recall me when I told you that I was turning? Do you remember what I said to you of why I didn't turn into the first section?
Yes, you informed me that you did not want to turn to that section because you did not want to be struck by oncoming traffic, which is why you wanted to turn further down the road so that you can make a U-turn and turn safely into the parking lot.
You recall me saying U-turn?
Or to turn into a parking lot further up so that you can U-turn in that parking lot to go further down.
Okay, so I didn't tell you that I was gonna make a U-turn in the street is what you're saying, because I never used the word U-turn.
So at this stage, Ms. Johnson, you know that you're asking questions. You will be able to say what happened, but if you will just phrase these as questions, please.
Okay, so did I use the word U-turn in my statement to you when you came to my vehicle?
No, you did not. It's a term that I'm using for 7 minutes.
That's that's all the only question I have, Your Honor.
All right, does the city have any other evidence?
No other evidence, Judge. The city rests.
All right, Ms. Johnson, the city has rested. You can now tell us what happened. And if there's any witnesses or documents that you want to introduce, you can introduce those at this time.
Okay. So I was driving down Jonesboro Road, and there weren't a lot of cars on the road at that time. I was hit from behind at a pretty high speed. The officer came to the car. First, the driver and the passenger in the vehicle that hit me came to the car first to question me about what of all these different questions. I was quite discombobulated after being hit from behind at that impacted speed. So I remember them just asking me, they did ask me, was I okay? Because they did hit me hard. So they did do that. And they were asking me if did I need 911? And I told them not at that time, but we did call 911 later. Then the police officer came, my signal was still on, and then he told us that we needed to get to a safer place so that he could assess the situation. And we did, we get moved over to the right. So he spoke to them. It was 2 people in the vehicle at that time, and he spoke to me as well. I told the officer that I slowed down to get into the turning lane. There was 2 entrances on Jonesboro Road to turn into the Wing Hut, which I'll be turning into the left, and ongoing traffic is on the right side. So as he stated in his statement, I did tell him that I did not want to turn into that to get hit onto ongoing traffic. So I go into the second section. I attempted to get to the second section of the intersection. I'm sorry, the second turn lane of the intersection, and I was hit before I could get to that. As he stated, I told him that I was trying to turn in there. I never made a U-turn. I never told him to U-turn or anything. I was going to turn into the second section to be safe, because this turning into that first part is dangerous because there's ongoing traffic and there's usually a heavier flow. So I tried to turn into there. I couldn't turn because I got hit. So he's saying I never did because I got hit. So I could not turn. And I slowed down to get into the turning lane. And I didn't even get a chance to completely stop. No one can go into a turning lane going 40 miles an hour and turn into ongoing traffic and get hit. I could not do that. So when I told the officer what happened, and I began to ask him, the driver told him that he saw my car a couple of cars ahead. So my question was, why wasn't he able to stop? Why wasn't he able to go around me if he felt like I was going too slow? But just to hit me, and then the responsibility is relinquished from him, who actually caused the accident, and put on me. It's completely unjust, because that's putting people in liability, where if I'm driving down a car, I'm driving on the street, then whoever is behind me, I can't be responsible for what they do. I can only be responsible for driving forward and trying to get into a turn lane so that I can turn. But I cannot do that if I get hit. And I can slow down. I can't go into a turning lane at 40, 45 miles an hour and hit someone. There were other cars there. So I'm being mindful of the other cars. And the responsibility has been taken away from the people who actually impacted my vehicle. I have damages, and I was actually very discombobulated at the scene. The officer actually had them to call EMS. So my vehicle was impacted, but I'm being held responsible. When I began to question the officer about his citation for me, he told me, we're not going to have court on the side of the road. That's what he told me. And then he said that if I had any other questions, I can call this number on the ticket, on the citation. So that means it was totally fine for the officer to inconvenience me and put me in a position where I have to take off work, or I have to go to court and do all of that, because he decided he didn't assess the situation thoroughly. He made a decision. He did not listen to what I said, because I never used U-turn, and he put that in his testimony. I never said I was going to make a U-turn in the middle of Jonesboro Road or in a parking lot. It's just simply turning and going down where the wing hut place where I was going. And I couldn't turn into the first section. I went down to try to turn into the second. I was hit before I could even get into it. I did not cause this accident. And I just want to say that the citation that I received does state that you do have to, I understand saying to impede the flow of traffic. I understand saying that we all have to be responsible to make sure we go the speed limit. If I'm slowing down to get into a turn lane, or I'm slowing down to get into a position to turn and not get hit by ongoing traffic, then the exception to this citation is to reduce speed and necessary for safe operation, and to not go into ongoing traffic and cause an accident to hurt someone else or myself is completely a safe operation.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Does the prosecution have any questions? You're on mute too, Mr. Prosecutor.
I do have some questions, Jeff, but let me just say that we did rest our case in chief.
Ms. Johnson, let me have you to mute your device, because it sounds like it's creating some distract. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
So we did rest our case in chief, but because Ms. Johnson invoked the witnesses testimony to the officer, I'd like to call David Wilson to rebut the testimony that was given by Ms. Johnson as to what he told the officer on the side of the road. We did not previously swear Mr. Wilson in, I don't believe.
All right, Mr. Wilson, if I can have you to please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, sir. If you will please respond to the prosecutor's questions, and then please respond to any questions posed to you by Ms. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wilson, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Ms. Johnson on February 26, 2023?
Yes, sir, I was.
And you were the driver of the other vehicle that was involved in that accident, is that correct?
Yes, I was.
Did you give a statement to the officer on the scene, Officer Moriarty, as he came to the scene in reference to this accident?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the court what statement you gave the officer at the scene?
Yes, I did. So on the day in question, I was driving south, and I had to be, I believe I was always behind Mrs. Johnson's car. And so we're driving probably about 40 miles an hour for, I turned about half a mile down and followed her. So at this point, we were coming under an intersection. And so I noticed that that as we were going through the intersection, she had either hit her brakes or was slowing down. So either way, as we're going through the intersection, I had slowed down as well. And I hit her car, but it appeared that there was no turn signal. It appeared that she was either slowed down or stopped because at the time of when I impacted her, my vehicle is right under the intersection light. And so I just was in question, why did she stop? What was going on? I didn't see anything impeding traffic. There was no turn signal on. And we had to have slowed down. We weren't doing 40. We had to have slowed down to about 25 because when I hit her, I had I looked and I kept going. Is she slowing down? As she stopped? And it appeared like she was going either slow enough to it stop because I slammed my brakes, and it was very very quick. So when I hit my brakes, I hit her. And for her vehicle, yes, there was some damage. It was minimal damage. It was for my car, of course, I had a lot of the functional damage, and I did have witnesses. I had my wife and my daughter was also in the vehicle as well. And so I believe that was a testimony that I get given. And also on that, where she was at, there was a truck, because as I'm going through the intersection, I'm looking, there's a truck turning in the oncoming traffic, and there was no way for her to make that turn. So as I'm trying to understand what was going on, no turn signal, slowed down. She wasn't doing 40. The most we were doing was maybe 20, 25, and that's my vehicle. I don't think her vehicle was quite doing that. Over.
So let me just make sure that I understand your testimony, Mr. Wilson. Are you stating that the accident occurred because at some point, Ms. Johnson came into an abrupt stop in the lane that you were traveling in?
If it was an abrupt stop, she was going very slow. So I did not get that she was fully stopped, but she was not fully stopped, she was going very slow. She wasn't doing 40, 45, 20, 25.
But there was no indication as to the reason. I mean, I think you testified that there was no turn signal on. There was nothing indicating that she was making any other maneuver. Is that correct?
No other maneuvers.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Johnson, do you have any questions you'd like to ask this witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, you stated that you were going 20 or 25 miles an hour. So you weren't able to stop if you were going at such a low speed if you saw my car?
Well, I saw your car and I did stop, but I was gauging whether you stopped or going slow. So by the time I hit my brakes, it appeared that you had stopped. So by the time I hit my brakes, that's when I impacted you.
Okay, so you saw me, how soon did you see me before you impacted my vehicle?
It had to be about maybe a vehicle length because we're under the intersection. So as I'm going through an intersection, the light was not turning red, the light was green. So we're going through an intersection, and I do see a vehicle, and I'm looking as to whether you stopped or whether you are moving slow. So I have hit my brakes, and at this point, I'm slowing down, and I realize you're either stopped or going at a very low rate of speed.
Okay, so if you realize that I was either stopped or going at a low rate of speed, why didn't you go around?
Because there were vehicles in the right-hand lane. We had vehicles in the right-hand lane and vehicles in the left-hand. We were in the fast part of traffic. So to move either way, I would impact the traffic.
Okay, so if you had to give an estimate on how many feet I was in front of you before you impacted my vehicle, what would you say before you realized that you needed to stop?
About a car length.
About a car length. So if I was going 25 miles, if you were going 25, then I'm not moving at all if your testimony is correct.
It's either you were not moving at all or you were either at low speed. I was not driving the vehicle. I'm talking from my approach to you.
Okay. That's the only questions I have, Your Honor.
All right. So let me just ask, Mr. Wilson, were you given a citation for this?
No, sir, I was not.
Okay. So the only citation that was issued was a citation to Ms. Johnson, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So does the prosecution have any other questions?
No other questions, Judge.
All right, Ms. Johnson, are there any other questions you want to ask?
No, sir, there's not.
All right. Is there any other evidence that anyone wants to produce?
Not from the city, Judge.
All right, Ms. Johnson.
No, sir, I don't.
All right, Ms. Johnson, you entered a not guilty plea to the charge of impeding the traffic flow. After listening to the evidence of all witnesses and all people involved, the court does find you guilty of the violation. The fine amount for this is $135. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need some time to pay it?
I'll satisfy it in 2 weeks.
All right, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
All right, do we have Ms. Johnson's email address and name in the chat?
Yes, we do, Judge.
All right, Ms. Johnson, you will receive your plea form no later than close of business tomorrow. Enter not guilty. You then will receive the judgment showing you were found guilty and to pay a fine of $135. Do you understand that within 2 weeks? Do you understand that, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I do.
And do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
No.
All right, thank you. You can disengage from the call, Ms. Johnson. Next is Mr. Manderville.
Yes, hello?
All right, we're ready with Officer Simmons. Thank you, Officer Moriarty. I think that was your last case.
Thank you, Art. Am I free to leave?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good.
Officer Simmons, is Officer Simmons present?
I am.
All right, everyone that's going to testify in this case, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, this is the possession of marijuana less than an ounce case. He's at the top of page 4.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Manderville is before the court because on or about November 6th of 2022, he was Officer Simmons made contact with him and subsequently charged him with possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. Officer Simmons, on the date in question, do you have come in contact with Mr. Manderville?
I was dispatched to Rumors for a disturbance call. Upon my arrival, the security as well as managers were escorting Mr. Manderville outside of the club. Mr. Manderville was being very irate and belligerent, shouting that he wasn't doing anything and he had money. at that time, Officer Dice and another officer, I can't recall who was on the team with me, were there as well. As he was getting belligerent, he started yelling, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. He grabbed his pockets and flipped his pockets inside out. As he flipped his pockets inside out, Officer S. Dice 1 observed a clear bag with green liquid substance later identified as marijuana fall outside of his pocket, and he was charged with marijuana less than an ounce.
But you did the official charge, is that correct?
Correct. I was dispatched to the call. I was standing by them as well.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Mandeville, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
You're on mute, Mr. Mandeville. Please take yourself off of mute. Your device.
Yes, hello? Yes.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer based on her testimony?
No, I just know that's not true.
Okay, but the question is, do you have any questions you want to ask her? You will have a chance to tell me what happened.
No.
Do you have any
No.
questions?
No.
You do not have any questions, is that correct?
No, I don't have no questions for her.
All right, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor? Let me just ask, was the leafy material, are there test results verifying that it was in fact marijuana?
I think Officer Dice put it into evidence, so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, do we have any test results showing that this was in fact marijuana?
Stand by, Judge. Let me see if I can get the report. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, all right. I'm going to take a 1-minute break to give you time to do that.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
There was no report written. I checked. It said that there is, but there's no report. I just need to check to see maybe that's maybe it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. I'll give a holler. All right.
Officer Simmons. Hey, Officer Simmons, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you have a case number on this?
Let me look at the ticket. 22004347.
Okay, stand by. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, do we have an announcement regarding any test results?
Yes, Your Honor. So we're unable to locate the report on that, so the city is going to dismiss that for one prosecution.
All right, Mr. Mandeville, this is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution on a technicality. Of course, if the city is able to get this information, they can see about seeing if the charges can be reinstated. But as of right now, the charges have been dismissed. Do you understand that? Mr. Mandeville, did you hear what I just said?
He's still on mute, Judge.
Unmute.
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, have you
Yes, sir.
typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Do we have Mr. Mandeville's information?
Yes, we do.
All right, Mr. Mandeville, you will receive your email plea form by close of business tomorrow. Enter a not guilty plea, and we'll see what happens with this case. But as of right now, you are excused. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Officer Simmons.
All right.
All right. We have a Kimberly Tolley. Is that someone? How are you doing there, Mr. McKeechin? All right, does
I'm
that
doing
take
good,
care?
Judge. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Does that take care of everyone on the calendar? Is Kimberly Tolley a witness, a police officer, or someone that's on the calendar for this? She's not on the calendar for this morning.
I'm not sure, Judge, and her audio is not set up.
Okay, well, we will not worry about it. You can go ahead and disengage her.
Your Honor, we still have to deal with Miss Madison.
Okay, let's deal with Ms. Madison. Is Officer Richard available?
We have not been able to locate Officer Richard.
Does the city have a motion on this?
Move to dismiss for want of prosecution, Judge.
All right, Ms. Madison, thank you. The officer did not show up. Your charge is being dismissed for want of prosecution. If you will please sign a plea form, which you have entered a not guilty plea. Thank you. All right, that takes care of Ms. Madison. Is there anyone else?
Attorney Kessler's logged back in.
Mr. Kessler?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you had Maria Perdomo that was still hanging on, and we talked about binding her case over.
I was having trouble contacting her with the number that I was given, and I would.
Yeah, she gave me a new number.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, she gave me a new contact number because she said it changed, so I can give that to you.
Please, please.
So we let her know that you was gonna. So the number is 706.
Okay.
242.
Okay.
6029.
So if we could push this case out, I'll call her and figure out what to do about the case. Okay.
Okay. All right. So we'll take it off of the bind over and we'll just reset it.
Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All righty.
All right. Thank you, Attorney Kessler. All right. Are there any other matters we need to
Thank
deal
you.
with?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Mr. Stowers came in late. He's on the new docket.
All right. Let him know that his officer has been excused. So he will have a late fee and we will give him a new date. The late fee is $50.
And we also have one young lady, she's on the docket for one, but I don't know that she has transportation. So her name is Ariana Gray, and she has a charge of loitering and prowling.
What is her plea?
Not guilty.
All right, if you all want to pull her paperwork and get her plea, and we'll give her a new trial date in Forest Park.
Okay, we'll do. Thank you.
All right, if you all want to take us off of video and live recording.
Okay.
And Your Honor, she is requesting a court-appointed attorney.
Unless she is facing jail time, she can fill out the form, but tell her that unless she is facing jail time, she may not be eligible for a court-appointed counsel.
I think she heard you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm gonna do that, but we have probation here for revocation hearings.
Okay, then let's go ahead and go forward with those.
Okay, we have about four or five that are here.
Okay, I didn't have any paperwork for that, but I will, if they will send me the paperwork or tell me what's going on. I
Okay.
hadn't received anything from probation.
Okay.
Judge, I'm going to go ahead and disengage and make my way over to UC.
Okay, thank you.
See you at 1.
Okay. Is the probation officer there?
Yes, he's coming down, Your Honor.
Yeah, ask him, has he told all of them the recommendations are any of these consented to?
No, sir, I haven't spoken with anybody. This is the first time they're really showing up.
Okay. Oftentimes it gives you an opportunity to let them know what your recommendation is. If it's something they agree to, you all can present it to me via a consent agreement. If it's not something they agree to, then we could go forward with the hearing. So do you want to have a moment to speak with them and let them know what your recommendation is?
I can.
Okay, that's fine. I can wait, or do you want to just reset? Well, since you have them there, let's go ahead and do it now.
Okay, we'll do. Give me just a second.
Oh, you take your time.
Okay.
We have all your information. We want to reach out to you. And you're good to go. We'll reach out to you. Did you request it? Right, did you say I didn't? Just as you told her, you're not facing the for this job, so you may not. On the point for the board of attorney, for people who are facing the sorry, did I be able you don't have to go back. So you don't want to, you don't want to try to figure this out. You don't have any good.
You need to decide for this seat. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
We have Ms. Tisdale here.
Okay.
She was sentenced to place on probation with Forest Park Municipal Court on November the 9th, 2022, for 12 months. The defendant failed to report as directed, and she has failed to make her minimum payment. She's only paid $5 since she's been on probation. On March 17th, the defendant and her mother reported to the probation office and stated they will not make any payments or come to the doing the court conditions until they speak with you. The defendant submitted documentation that she suffers from schizoaffective disorder, and he's having a hard time completing the conditions. She hasn't done the community service. She did come in this morning with the theft certificate
Oh, yeah.
that has been completed. And her original charges are theft by shoplifting.
Okay. And what store was this?
Family Dollar.
Okay.
And the total amount that she owes is $1,143.
Okay. Okay. So tell me, she went on probation when?
November the 9th, 2022.
Okay. And she has not complied by reporting or making her payment?
Yes, sir.
All right.
She's $800 in arrears on the fine and probation bills.
Okay.
She has completed the theft class. I did verify the certificate.
All right, she completed the theft class. Has she done any community service?
No, sir.
All right. All right, let me hear from Ms. Tisdale.
Yeah, I had trouble completing my probation or paying for my probation because I didn't have enough money at the time.
So let's deal with the non-monetary things. Why haven't you been reporting?
I haven't been reporting because I emailed them and called them, but they haven't responded back.
They're not supposed to respond back. You're supposed to report.
Okay.
So you have a responsibility to report. That does not require the payment of any money.
Okay.
So you haven't reported. How come you haven't done any community service?
I plan to do community service within the next few days.
Okay.
As soon as possible.
Okay. I understand that you have a medical condition.
Yes.
Okay. What are you accused of? Well, what did you take from Family Dollar?
I took some Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need for you to do your community service and your reporting.
Okay,
So when does her probation end?
November the 8th of 2023.
Bring her back in front of me on a compliance calendar in 60 days. What I'd like to see is for her to have completed her community service and for her to have reported consistently during that time. Now, Ms. Tisdale, how do you live? Do you work?
well, yeah, I have a job, a part-time job.
Okay. And
Yeah.
why aren't you paying anything towards your probation?
I paid something last week as soon as I got paid.
Okay. I need for you to try to catch up your balance, but we're going to give you a reset court date in 60 days. You will have your community service completed and you would have reported and you would have made some payments, okay?
Okay,
And when you come back in 60 days, then I will reassess this, all right?
okay,
Make sure your community service is completed.
okay.
All right, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, so Mr. Probation Officer, what we will do is have a reset court date in 60 days. She would have completed her community service, she would have made payments, and she would have reported regularly.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you want to go to the next person?
Yes, sir. That's true. Next.
So, Mr. McKeachin, oftentimes after we finish up our trial calendar, that's when we have some of our probation revocation calendars.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Okay. I have a question afterwards. I'll put you at the end.
Go ahead, Mr. Probation Officer. You have another matter?
Yes, so let me speak to Mr. Kidd right quick before I bring him forward.
All right.
I gotta get you up here first and we'll go from there.
All right, Mr. Probation Officer, is this one consented to, or will this require a hearing?
This is gonna need a hearing. This is.
All right, what is this gentleman's name?
This is Mr. Charlie Kidd.
All right, Mr. Kidd, everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Probation Officer, will you please outline the circumstances of delinquency?
Yes, sir. The defendant was sentenced placed on probation with Forest Park Municipal Court on August the 10th of 2022 for 12 months. The defendant failed to report as directed on March the 6th and on March the 9th, but has reported on a regular basis. The defendant has not made any payments towards his final probation fees. The defendant refused to apply for community service. The defendant stated that he is unable to work, but not has provided any documentation from his doctor about his physical abilities or limitations. The defendant stated at every probation appointment that he's waiting to receive Social Security benefits. The defendant currently owes $677, and there are 91 days left on his probated sentence.
Okay. Mr. Kidd, what would you like to say, sir?
I'd like to have a lawyer represent me because I don't feel like I would be done fair with Ms. Johnson. I've gave her all the documents that I've gotten. I don't have insurance. I can't get anything through healthcare.gov, so I'm not working, don't qualify for Medicaid or Medicare. Because I'm not technically disabled yet. I'm waiting for the approval for that. So I can't go see a doctor. I don't have insurance. I can't work. I broke my back and I was paralyzed until they did the surgery. I mean, I'm still learning to walk.
What is it? What are you on probation for?
Following too closely ticket. And if you look at my record, I haven't had a ticket in a long time, years. I had a clean driving history.
So the underlying offense on this is, Mr. Probation Officer, is a following too closely charge?
Yes, sir.
Is that the only charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he was placed on probation. So his ticket amount should have been what?
$530.
Okay, did he must have, okay. And the rest of that is his probation fees?
Yes, $147 probation fees.
All right. So, Mr. Kidd, we need for you to fill out a financial affidavit, which you can fill out today.
I already got it right here.
Is it completely filled out?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You have any documentation to go with it?
It's not wage report.
So what income do you have coming in?
None at all.
How do you take care of yourself?
I have to live with my parents. I also got a wage report as well showing from the employment office.
All right, if you will please turn that into probation.
Yes, sir.
All right. So leave all of that with probation. They will scan that in and send that to me. And what I'm going to do is reset your hearing for next Wednesday. And I would have looked at this and I'll have a response by then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good day, sir.
All right. Let's go to your next matter, Mr. Probation Officer.
Excuse me for a second. We got Mr. Glendale Arnold. He came before you last month about his driver's license being suspended, and y'all were supposed to review you reset it for today.
All right. And his driver's license was okay. And I do remember his face. I don't remember what I was reviewing, but I think this was a gentleman who said that he was in custody at the time of why he missed court.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We have that information. So did he submit that information to the court?
He did.
All right, Miss Green, Miss Yates, or Miss Payton, do we have that information for this gentleman?
They're not on the bench right now, sir.
Okay.
But they're in office.
They're in the office.
Okay. Let me ask him to have a seat, but get his phone number, Mr. Probation Officer, and I will get yours. Let me look at that at the 1 o'clock calendar, and I will try to do some type of adjudication today on this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
That's everybody.
That takes care of everybody.
She just showed up. Okay. Ms. Rouse. That's everybody, Judge.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your professionalism. I think that will conclude court today, and I will see everyone at 1 o'clock. I'll get there around 12:30.
Okay, see you then.
All right, Mr. McKeechin, do you have any questions, sir?
No, just I can ask you one. I'll be there at 1 o'clock as well.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, Your Honor.
Thanks.
You don't want to go to jail. Put your name right here. Jordan, right? What's that? Hey, right there. I'm gonna put you right there. See it, right? All right, so if one is still here. All right. You need to report next month. And report to you, and then you come to the office.